Hoops heads all across the world, welcome to Court Vision, brought to you by Sports Kings in conjunction with War Room Sports. This is our weekly webcast where we talk about the NBA and everything in the world of hoops. I'm your host this evening, Jimmy at JW The Blueprint. You know what I mean? Twitter, Instagram, ladies, it's right here. At the round table, we got Andy from Sports Kings. Andy, what's going on?
I don't know. Those NBA players are going to have to start wearing boxing gloves or something.
Yeah, it's broken hand season. B. Austin from War Room Sports. What's up, King?
Shout out to all the gentlemen that paint houses for $250.
We got Dev from War Room Sports. What's going on, Dev?
What's up, good people out there? Sports land.
You already know. We got Frank from Sports Kings. What's going on, Frank?
Not much. Just a quick PSA. Yo, if you've ever sent a death threat to an athlete on Twitter, just click out. We don't want your view.
Kill yourself.
Yeah, kill yourself.
Kill yourself.
Listen, before we start talking about some topics in this week of basketball, the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to the players of the week. Dev, who are the players of this past week?
Players of the week this week in the NBA. This shouldn't be a surprise. LeBron James of the Miami Heat and Kevin Durant, the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron led the Heat to a 4-0 week. This team is finally balling like we thought they would eventually. He averaged 29 points a game, shot over 60% from the field, and he shot 46.5% from three-point land.
Damn!
He's balling right now. He also averaged 6 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 1.5 steals, which actually is kind of down for a LeBron James stat line. Kevin Durant, he got Oklahoma City to 3 victories. They were 3-0. He was second in the conference in scoring at 27 a game, 12 rebounds a game, and 7 assists per game. He had 2 monster double-doubles. And he had a triple-double versus Minnesota, 32 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. Shout out to the 2 best players in the league by most people's account.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, watching the player of the week this past year, we've seen some crazy players of the week. It's not always the cats we expect like this week, but
Markieff Morris. And
Markieff Morris was up there a couple. You know what I mean? Like it's been some some unique picks this past season of players of the week, but LeBron and Durant, steady. That's what they do now.
I mean, the season is coming back to normal. That's all.
Yeah. Andy, you mentioned it when we were coming on. What's going on? The first topic I want to talk about is what's going on with all these broken hands in the NBA. Like, what's good?
They hacking.
I mean, it happens in weird ways. Anthony Davis's was against the rim, so. I mean, be mindful, young fellow, when you're out there trying to swat shots. But it's just unfortunate. I mean, what are you going to really, do to prevent it? Paul Pierce has osteoporosis because he's like 80 years old.
Mr. Glass.
I mean, I don't know. It's really unfortunate. I mean, especially Anthony Davis because he was having a pretty, tremendous season thus far. But yeah.
How did JJ Redick break his hand? I missed that.
He's soft. Played a dude.
Yeah. All right, now, Andy, what do you think is going to happen with Anthony Davis? I mean, of course, at this moment, that's like the biggest news. I mean, Paul Pierce, like you said, is 80 years old. That's going to happen. But how will this affect this team moving forward?
I mean, they still beat the Knicks.
That ain't hard to do.
That's not an accomplishment. It's not an accomplishment. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like hopefully I saw Paul Pierce. They were saying something like 2 to 4 weeks. Is that what you heard, Frank? With Pierce?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So I think it was a very similar thing with Anthony Davis. Although I hadn't seen a timetable for him yet.
I hadn't done a timetable.
I checked a couple hours ago. I hadn't seen anything still. So
Paul Pierce is not hurting or breaking his hand on the rim these days.
Yeah, Paul Pierce can't even reach the rim.
I know he's old. And we expect these things from Paul Pierce and people of his ilk, but I kind of think that's the most important one. I mean, Anthony Davis, of course, is the rising superstar in the league, but considering that he's still a member of the Pelicans, I think Paul Pierce's injury is the biggest one because even though the Nets suck right now, this team still has the most to lose. Like we keep saying, in different forums that we think eventually that division will even itself out, even if the Nets don't have a great record. the Sixers, the Raptors, teams like that aren't going to stay at the top of the division.
Yo.
I disagree slightly with what Dev's saying because a large part of why the Nets are better because of Paul Pierce.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Frank. This might help the team.
This might help
that junk he's up there throwing up. Like,
to be honest,
this dude is a black hole. He gets the ball and he throws up junk. Go ahead, Frank. That's your team.
Yeah. Alan Anderson's going to start in his place, and he's been better than Paul Pierce all season. There hasn't been a game this season where Alan Anderson has not played better than Paul Pierce, which should say a lot about Paul Pierce in his career.
We'll see how he plays as a starter.
Outplaying him.
Listen, man.
Some guys jump off the bench with no pressure, and
That's true.
Nobody wants a broken truth, man. Nobody wants a broken truth, and I believe that the truth shall set you free. So it's my belief that he was going to bring things around. He was going to bring things around, man.
I hear you. Listen, I hear you. He gonna come out
Doc picks him up in the DeLorean, I mean,
he gonna come out the wheelchair and he gonna do his thing.
He probably not really hurt, Jimmy.
He probably not. You know,
roll it.
He likes a dramatic situation.
I'm surprised they got his timetable so quick. Everybody on the Nets is like
divas. Yo, you know he's gonna come back.
They say everybody on the Nets is day to day. Like Darren Williams has missed like 10 games and he's still day to day.
I think Darren Williams has torn pride. Like, I think a little bit of pride.
I think Paul Pierce is tired of everybody getting them games off. He out there playing every game, looking around, and KG's off every other night. Darren Williams hurt. The big fella just came back. He's been taking nights off, so he said, it's my turn. That's all.
And then he has to play with Andre Blatch.
Oh, God.
Shooting threes. Yo, Andre Blatch shooting threes might be the worst thing that's ever happened in my life.
No, that ain't worse than Josh Smith shooting them, though.
It's close.
Hold on, though.
Their form is similar.
Anthony Davis, there's no timetable yet, but like Dev said, he's a rising superstar. I mean, is this going to derail anything, or is he going to be the same guy? Is he going to be scared to like jump up and block shots because the rim, you can't beat the rim?
I mean, he'll be good. I said that because it's the Pelicans, and they don't really, they're not playing for much right now.
Listen, man, they can make the playoffs. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, they got a playoff spot.
They got a playoff spot, man. With him playing the way he's playing.
Fly Pelican.
You said and do what?
I mean, I don't think it'll be a big setback.
Be in the playoffs.
True.
He's happy to be here. Anyway,
Pelicans.
Anyway, man, listen. Another thing I want to talk about is John Wall. All right, Frank, I'm gonna start with you because John Wall, he watched The Secret, he practiced The Secret, so he has to go out and say it. And what he did, he said he's the best point guard in the league. Now, you probably don't agree with that, but what do you feel about John Wall stating that he's the best point guard in the league?
So the first thing I want to say, which is completely related, is I think many people would be surprised how many people believe they're the best player in the league. Like, how many people probably believe they're better than LeBron? Like, Jamal Crawford thinks he's better than LeBron James.
Probably does too. Andre
Blatch thinks he can take LeBron James off the dribble right now.
Lance Stevenson definitely think he.
But I mean, John Wall, he's been playing great. I mean, you can't really fault him. His confidence is at a high, and that's the kind of attitude you want in your leader. You want a guy that thinks he's the best in the league, that thinks he can go up against CP3 and take him to school. I mean, that's what you want in your guy. So I don't have a problem with him saying it. It's obviously not true. Chris Paul is the best point guard in the league, and it's not even a debate.
All right. So now here's my next question. The first thing you said, I totally agree with you. I was actually pissed at the people that were pissed at him. How could he say that? I'm like, what are you talking about?
He's supposed to.
But Frank, my question is this: where do you have him in terms of the top point guard in the league? Where's John Wall ranked right now?
Man, the point guard debate is the hardest debate in the league. I'd probably say top 7. I put him in my top 7. I mean, with Derrick Rose out, you got to take Rose out of the equation. But
Derrick Rose still in the NBA? Oh, my fault.
But
all right,
and I mean, with a healthy Rondo, he's better than John Wall. So.
All right, Dev. Since Frank is non-committal, where do you rank John Wall at right now in terms of point guards in the NBA?
That's funny that he said that, Frank, because I was sitting here nodding like I agree exactly what Frank is saying.
Top 7?
Top 7 with all the injured dudes, yeah. And I think, like, when a lot of these guys start to come back from injury, it may not even matter because I think John Wall is finally starting to get it. So he's going to climb the ladder whether those guys are there or not. I always have the debate in my mind because I'm crazy. I talk to myself about whether or not I take John Wall over Kyrie Irving. Because I'm starting to think that Kyrie's hype is a little bit more hype than substance. Not that his, we talked about this before, like his game is silly. His talent level is crazy, but as far as impact goes, I'm seeing John Wall making a greater impact on his team right now than, say, a Kyrie Irving. But
Okay, I respect that.
He's finally starting
So
to get it.
top 7 for you. Be Austin, where's John Wall at in terms of point guards in the NBA right now?
He's actually my number 7. I think that was a
Come
great.
on, dog.
No.
All y'all can't have me the same spot.
Talk to him, B. Austin.
No, real talk. Real talk. Lucky Sevens is where it's at, and here's why.
All right. Well, give me your
look at the team. I'm gonna try to give you.
Give me a 6.
Try to give you an answer. Yeah, but
Steph Curry.
Stop me.
Steph Curry.
Russell Westbrook. Chris Paul, obviously.
Stop.
This is the part where makes Austin give me names. This is the part where makes Austin give me names so he can get slandered on YouTube. But go ahead though. Steph Curry.
John Wall top 5?
Nah, he's not top 5.
Is he better than Tony Parker?
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker, absolutely.
Jeremy Lin? Say.
Jeremy
Michael
Lin.
Carter Williams.
Nick Foles.
MCW?
Nick
MCW.
Foles.
How about Darren Williams?
Rondo isn't healthy. Rondo is definitely there. Honestly, I know I'm gonna get slandered for this, but I still don't want to throw Deron Williams out in the trash heap. Just because I've seen him do so much. I'm gonna say Deron is probably my number 6.
About Tony Roten.
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right, so I don't even know if he gave me 6 names or he gave me like 12 at this point. Hey, who is it? He said Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, Darren Williams, Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo, and Tony Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no D Rose then.
What about Derrick Rose?
No, I don't. Even when D Rose is healthy, I count him more as a combo guard because what he does isn't really. It's not really a point guard.
Hey,
you know what's hilarious about this conversation?
What about Kyrie Irving? What about
Kyrie Irving?
What about the young and out in
Portland? 3 weeks ago, we were talking about Derrick Rose being the 3rd best player in the league.
That was y'all.
Hold on, though. What about Kyrie Irving? What about Damian Lillard? Yo, what about Chauncey Billups, B. Austin?
Damian Lillard. You got
Chauncey Billups.
She said Chauncey Billups.
All right. Well, let's get Andy's take. Andy, where's John Wall at? Point guards right now.
I mean, I think right now, he's the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. Hear me out. Being that Rondo and Derrick Rose and Deron Williams are all banged up. I'm not even entertaining the Kyrie Irving thing anymore because, like Dev said, he's not helping his team. What are they doing? They're not winning games. I mean,
Mike Brown came into town.
Andrew Bynum looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and he's scoring 20 points, blocking 5 shots. But I think, at this point, I have to stop considering Derrick Rose, at least for the time being, because he's going to miss the next 5 seasons. Rondo's hurt. I think when Rondo's healthy, he's the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. But John Wall's kind of that new breed where Rajon Rondo isn't. I mean, the scoring point guard is kind of the in fad in the NBA besides a few. I mean, you have the Westbrooks, the explosive guys. Rose, was one of those guys. And you have John Wall, who's one of those guys.
It is. But if you consider that, I would say Chris Paul is kind of the gold standard. I still want my point guard to be able to set the table and get assists, and see that's where John Wall. Yeah. That's where John Wall comes into play. Like I'm so excited. I'm so excited about point guards kind of coming back in quote unquote vogue. John Wall is a table setter. He is a playmaker, and he's going to deliver in so many areas. Rebounds. He's going to scoring, but more than that, he's going to get you 8, 9, 10, and eventually I see double-digit assists from John Wall.
But he has that explosive potential, and that's what I'm saying. He's like 6'4". He can get to the rim. I mean, he's quick, and
he plays defense too.
I mean,
he plays defense.
Yeah, and he's long, and he gets in the passing lanes. I mean, it's all a part of it. And I think it's taken him a little time because he was rawer than most players are.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Coming into the league. I don't think people take that into consideration sometimes. He was a very raw prospect.
His jump shot is nowhere near as good as mine is. Like, nowhere near. I've seen it up close and personal.
All right.
He cannot shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with John Wall is just the consistency, which comes with young players. You know, he'll go 30, 15 one night, and then the next night you look and it's like, oh, you know, he's 2 for 11 from the floor. What's going on here?
Yeah,
but
I
mean,
like the confidence. The confidence.
That's the greatest. I mean, that's the great thing about Chris Paul is he's consistent, and at any time in the game, Chris Paul can take over. You know, he can distribute all he wants to Blake. They can alley-oop, and then fourth quarter, he's just like, all right, it's my time.
And that 2 for 11 would be against like Travis Diener or somebody. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I know y'all like kind of 80-60, but I'm telling you, Damian Lillard, give him another year, yo. This dude, watching him play, his maturity and the way he plays the game, he's gonna be a problem.
I might have Dame over John Wall.
He top 8.
He said top 8.
Top 8. But that's where the debate comes in with the passing versus the scoring, because Lillard's not the passer that John Wall is.
Yeah.
Right.
Wall is right now passing to the tune of 9.2 assists per game. You know, and those are just the ones that people score from. You know, we always talk about the hockey assists where, you know, he makes the pass that leads to the pass that leads to the basket. So
yeah, and
he's doing a lot of good things right now.
Out of everybody down there, though, B. Austin's the only one that brought up Steph Curry. Like, where do you guys see Steph Curry in the mix? Because B. Austin brought him up first.
He's a combo guard, but I mean, he certainly has to be considered because he plays the point guard position. I mean, that's the difference. We get in these debates.
I know.
Sometimes.
We had the debate with Paul George. Hold on, B. Austin.
Real quick.
It's always difficult for me.
If I could say this, decision making. That's all I want you to consider when you say.
No, absolutely.
He's decision making.
He's in my top 5.
Yeah.
Andy got 8 people in his top 5. But go ahead, Dad.
See, that's what you know makes me reluctant to bring Steph, even though you know Steph Curry goes out there and kills people nightly. Like, I'm reluctant to bring him up in this conversation because we narrow it down just to point guards. I'm thinking, you know, who's the most pure, and he doesn't strike me as that because he is that combo guard. But like you said, you do have to consider him because he's busting people's ass.
Plus, all right, here's a factor that there hasn't been too many light-skinned point guards that have won at a high level in this league. I'm just being honest. I'm just saying, either you got to be a white guy, or you got to be a dark-skinned guy. I mean, light-skinned guys don't win
didn't we have the discussion last year with Paul George, whether he's a shooting guard or a small forward?
And we just said he's a basketball player.
One of those things. Yeah, he's a basketball player. I mean, he fills out the position he plays. And I think for a guy like Steph Curry, he may not be the best set you up, control the floor guy, but he's a great, he can push his own tempo when he has the ball. He can score and he can get the passes.
He handles the ball way better than he got credit for coming into the league.
I firmly believe that Tony Parker is the second best point guard in the league. I think he's so underrated, it's unbelievable.
I was just getting ready to ask you guys about him because no one really brought his name up. Where does he rank at this point in his career? So Frank, you're saying he's the second best in the league.
Right after Chris Paul, I would take Tony Parker.
Okay, Andy, what do you think about Tony Parker?
With injuries considered, I mean, right now it's hard with the injuries. I mean, because Rondo for me is right into the mix if he's not hurt. But with Rondo being injured right now, my active healthy point guards, I would say I have Tony Parker behind Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook.
So he's also in your top 5.
Can't do that because with Tony Parker, they run too much of their offense through Manu Ginobili at the end of games. I don't want a point
2 years ago.
Were you? I was going to say, who is Manu Ginobili?
Yo, Manu Ginobili don't get in the game no more. What are you talking about, man?
Yo, the only thing Manu Ginobili shoots now is bats, man.
Manu, what the hell are you talking about? All right, Dev, where you got Tony Parker at, though, Dev?
Top 4.
Man, y'all dudes, man. Listen, let's move on, man, because all y'all got about 10 point guards in your top 5.
Man, you put this on the spot, man.
I only said like 3. What are you talking about?
No, Andy got about 11 players in his top 5. Anyway, man.
Tell Steph Curry stop turning the ball over, too.
Yeah, how about that? All right, the biggest story of the past couple weeks in the NBA is not even about hoops. It's about Dev's favorite point guard of all time, who's embarrassing himself. But the best move he's ever made as a point guard, according to Andy, was what he did with Cupcake.
You mean as a coach?
As a coach, right. Excuse me, as a coach, because as a coach, this is the first time I've actually seen him do anything as a coach. But, Andy, I'm going to start with you because you said it's the best thing he's done. So what do you feel about Cupcake, Andy?
I mean, it's I thought it was hilarious. I kind of liked the move, to be honest with you, because what's the fine if they had won that game? I mean, it worked for the time being. I mean, they didn't end up winning, but I mean, he got his little extra time in there, and it was funny in the process. Do you see Lawrence Frank's face in the background? It was the funniest thing. Go back and look at, if you didn't watch Lawrence Frank's facial expressions in the back, like he knew what was going on, and he was just looking over the shoulder, waiting for it. He can't be your accomplice in anything because he'll give it away with his body.
It definitely was gangster though. Like, look, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Word to LT or B Austin. What was your thought on Cupgate?
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Exactly what you just said. That's. I mean, the team is losing. He looks terrible. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, no doubt. Dev, what's your opinion? I mean, this is your favorite point guard of all time.
The best point guard of all time.
I wouldn't say that. That's his favorite point guard of all time.
It's my favorite, yeah. Between him and KJ.
No, I was saying he's the best.
Oh, well, we already see you're drinking, but go ahead, Dev.
I was a little embarrassed, being as how I go for Jason Kidd, but you know what, Andy? I don't think it was his best move because he messed it up afterwards. Because after you did that, somebody else drew up the play. Like that's he went
right back to what he's been doing all season.
That's the criticism that he's been getting, and that's what we kind of talked about before. Jason Kidd, like there's coaches out there who can do what he's doing right now. Say like a Phil Jackson, his team could be on the losing end of a 16-0 run, and he can sit there, chilling because what he's done, his background, his resume, he can. His team is prepared. Jason Kidd just stepped off the court onto the sideline, so this is his time to prove that he was worthy of that because there's a whole lot of other people out there trying to get that coaching shot. And by all accounts, like we don't really know what's going on in practice, but all we see is other coaches doing, talking to the players, drawing up plays, doing things like that. And I don't think he's that deep in the game to allow it to go that way. So, Jason, he needs to step it up. I don't know.
I watch a lot.
It was definitely funny, though. It was definitely.
I've watched a lot of Nets basketball this year, just because I'm a hoops nerd. Because other than that, I probably wouldn't watch that travesty. But I haven't seen Jason Kidd call one play. I haven't even seen him talk to his team. Only thing I've seen him say to his team was, "Yo, hit me." Because other than that, he doesn't do anything.
I don't think they like him.
Yo, he just sits there. Like, he doesn't call any plays on offense, defense. Like, he just sits there.
He does his Mike Brown impersonation.
Yo.
Mike Brown been to the finals. He got a resume.
Even Mike Brown is talking on defense.
Yo, Mike Brown, at least he faking it. Yo, Frank, that's your team. Yo, you're a Nets fan.
Saints defense faking
What's up with your coach, man?
We all know my slogan, no J. Kidd slander. But in his defense, I have noticed that he's been more active the last few games. He has been up. He has been active. When he first started the season. When he first started the season,
it's not hard to be more active when you do nothing at all.
Frank almost laughed when he said that.
So I'll be honest. Like I completely understand people that say it was Bush League. It was just silly, but more so than anything, I just found the whole thing hilarious. Like I was watching the game, and when it first happened, I thought, yo, if he did that on purpose, that's like Coach of the Year material. Like, just joking. And then, like, half an hour later, I see all this footage on Twitter, and the footage is just hilarious because he just got caught so bad. It's just so blatant what he said. Like, he couldn't even have put the hand. Hit me.
Yo,
I think people forget how many cameras that they have at sporting events these days.
Yo, my man J. Kidd was like,
everything.
Hit me.
Yo, the greatest thing that happened to Jason Kidd this week was Mike Tomlin. That's the greatest thing that happened to Jason Kidd, yo.
Took our minds off of it.
Yeah, take our minds off it. But between the two of them, I don't know which one was funnier, but they're both hilarious.
How much the fines going to be?
What'd you say?
How much are the fines going to be?
Jason Kidd was $50,000. His was $50,000. He already got his fine. Mike Tomlin, they talking about taking draft picks and giving him a six-figure fine.
How do you take a draft pick?
That's because David Stern is like he's already in Boca Raton, playing golf. Like Goodell's trying to show people he's boss. Make him call him
David
uncle.
Stern probably laughed just as hard as we all did.
Yeah, he probably did. He probably
He
did.
might have
Jason
learned that
did.
from David. That's something David Stern would do if he was coaching. Hit me.
That was funny, Jason.
Yo, man. Anyway, man,
Yo,
that's what's going on.
I've
Go ahead,
seen
Bianca.
I've seen David Stern, and let me tell you, David Stern believes in this. He believes in it.
Yeah, as do you. But listen, though, man, that's
Folks will tell the truth.
That's pretty much what's going on this past week. Again, shout out to LeBron and Durant being the players of the week. We'll talk about the players of the week next week on next show. Anybody got anything looking forward to this week, Andy, in the league?
Yeah, I really want to see how the Pelicans can go without Anthony Davis. I mean, they're a lot funner to watch with Anthony Davis. Obviously, that's my boy, better than Blake Griffin. And but I want to see because they have a lot of talented guys. I mean, Eric Gordon, Tyreek Evans, Drew Holiday, those fellas, and I just kind of want to see how they can accept the roles. Ryan Anderson's another big one, and see if they can keep that team afloat a little bit while he's gone.
Ryan Anderson
No
is
doubt.
the truth.
Andy, I got a question for you real quick, Andy, specifically to you. Right now, you had your draft pick. Are you taking Anthony Davis or Boogie Cousins?
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, think about that.
Whoa.
You said Anthony Davis?
Yo! What against his boy?
More upside, and he wants to win games. He wants to play hard.
Man.
Boogie
I
doesn't.
think in a
I
million
love
years you were
Boogie.
going against Boogie.
He doesn't want to win.
I thought he would take Boogie over Hakeem Olajuwon, but he actually went Anthony Davis.
I will. I still hate Hakeem Olajuwon.
All right, B. Austin,
Oh,
what
man.
you looking forward to this week, B. Austin? Guess not. Dev, what you looking forward to this week?
More L's from the Sixers. About it.
More losses from your Sixers, man. So basically they're back to reality, huh?
Yeah, they need to
Holy
sign Nick
gravity.
Foles.
Sign Nick Foles. Frank, what you looking forward to as a Nets fan? Anything else? Because
well-
it's not the Nets, so it has to be something else.
Yeah, I mean, it stays in the Eastern Conference. I'm looking for a third team in the East to separate themselves. I mean, after the Heat and the Pacers, you got like all these the Atlanta Hawks are the third seed at 9-9 right now. Believe that? But I'm looking for a team to separate themselves. I'm looking to see if somebody will show out.
I don't even see who could possibly separate themselves. The East thinks. This is why
Not
we
gonna
all
be
think
Chicago.
we all think that the Nets still have a chance, and we all think Chicago has a chance. It's because how bad the East is.
The Nets is
I don't know
going to
who
win the Atlantic Division, man.
Yeah,
I'm-
this is
I'm-
possible.
With 37 wins.
I'm looking forward.
But
I'm
also,
looking-
this is the Wizards. But go ahead, B. Austin.
I'm looking forward to Sam Young's return to the NBA, Flip Murray getting signed, Jared Jeffries' return to the NBA, Ira Newble getting on a roster,
So it's the all-bum team?
Yo, they could all start for the Knicks right now.
and
Yeah.
Jay Crawford laying more bodies down. Shout out to Lance Stevenson.
Yo, shout out to Jamal Crawford for getting his highlight put everywhere, although he missed the shot. This is what's wrong with. Never mind. I don't get into that.
Exactly.
I'm not even gonna get into that. He missed the shot though. Anyway,
Pelicans
man.
are about to beat the Bulls right now.
And then Jimmy, he got plucked on the next play by Lance Stevens.
Exactly. But
They don't
won't
show you that part.
though. They don't show you that. No. They didn't show him making Lance Stevenson's soul leave the arena, but come right back once he missed the shot though. So his soul didn't completely leave. With that being said, this has been another episode of Court Vision. Don't forget, share this video if you want to argue with us in terms of point guards. Let us know who is your top 5 point guards in the NBA, and also where do you have John Wall ranked right now? Not potential, not last season, but right now, where is he ranked amongst the NBA's elite in terms of point guards? Comment, like I said. Share the video with your friends that argue hoops. Talk trash to us. Go check out Sports Kings at sports-kings.com. You guys have, Pass the Pill, all your basketball writing, right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Yeah, so check out Pass the Pill on sports-kings.com. Check out everything we're doing at warroomsports.com and also warroomsportstv.com. As we always say, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we'll see you chumps on top.
Shout out to my man, Uber Hakari. I know you're watching this video, man.
Yeah, you gotta watch your wife around Tony Parker.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.